Hey friends, welcome back. Here's a little short update from Quartzsite, Arizona.
Welcome to the vlog.
Hey friends, so welcome back. I just thought I'd do a little quick update, try and be present, keep you guys all kind of up to date on some of the day-to-day stuff that's been going on. It's been weird. That's about all I can say. It's been weird. First things first, Rollins is fine, I'm fine, everything's going good. We went on a little day trip adventure. I'll post a few photos here that I found. I was going to try and shoot a video, but I didn't really know what to expect on where we were going. Basically, I was kind of like just looking on Google Maps one day. There's a town up the hill, so to speak. It's about an hour and 45 minutes away, I think, but it's called Baghdad, Arizona. And just the weird, quirky name got my attention. So I decided, oh, let's just go up there and check it out. The drive up proved to be a little more exciting, as eventful than the actual destination. I did get some funky kind of, lost desert photos. Like I said, they're probably flying in over top of here. But Baghdad itself, beautiful little town. It's a nice little town. We stopped and just kind of hung out a bit, got some gas, looked around. I actually rinsed the truck off there, spent a few bucks, and then it was just like, okay, so we turned around and kind of came back. But other than that, I haven't really gotten out a whole lot. Just kind of been getting settled, getting hunkered down, slowly fixing up some things when I'm not dealing with other things that are just constantly going wrong. Yes, this has been a challenging month. So, got here, got settled, hung around for a bit, then it was kind of like, okay, well, I should probably go dump the tanks. In case you didn't know, we're at the LTV, so we're at La Posa West, and the dump station is down, basically you go south about, I don't know, a mile and a half, and on the left is La Posa South, and that's across the road from Tyson Wells or Tyson Wash LTVA. So there's like these four little areas, but that one down there has the dump station and the water and that kind of thing. So went down there, pulled into the dump station, got rid of the yucky, went to pull out, and all of a sudden I hear this bam, bam, and I'm like, what the hell? And I look in the mirror, and the back wheel of my trailer, so there's two axles, the back axle, the back wheel on the driver's side is basically up, wedged under the frame, completely stopped, and I'm like dragging it. And it's like totally askew. I'm like, what the hell now? So I basically just drug it a little bit so I wasn't totally in the way, so other people could still use the dump station and exit. So I got it out of the way, and then I got underneath it. And one of the new springs I put on, there's a pin that goes through the three leaves right in the center, and that sits on top of the axle. And the U-bolt, there's a plate goes on top, and the U-bolt goes down, goes through, and you put the bolts on. The U-bolt, that plate also has a hole in it that sits on top of the pin. The pin goes through and basically holds everything in place in line above the axle. Well, that pin was nowhere to be seen, and what had happened was it got loose enough, and as I pulled out, the force of the trailer on the axle slid off, and basically two of the short leaf and the other one basically slid out and fell on the ground, and the rest of the axle just decided to basically travel along the back of the leaf spring as far as it would go, right up into the frame. And I'm like, okay, what month is it? What year is it? Because I'm pretty sure a month and 2 weeks ago, I got 4 springs put on. Actually, 3 springs put on. And they were put on by a company in Montana called RV and Marine Services. And I'm pretty sure this isn't supposed to happen a month after you install new springs. And I did a little quick thinking, which springs were new this fall and which one, because we didn't replace the one that I replaced last year. But that one was on the other side. So these 3 springs, the one, including the one that went 2 days ago, are the new ones. So basically I'm kind of like just standing there going, okay, what the hell do I do? Will my bottle jack get this thing high enough that I can swap out, because I do have the 4th spring from the box of 4 that I bought to replace the other 3. So another fellow in a bigger RV, he stopped by and he's like, I'm just filling up with water. Do you need a hand? I'm like, I could probably use a hand. And he goes, I have a floor jack and this and that. And I go, yeah, that might help. So basically with his help, we got it up, got the spare spring on. But in that process, and this will lead to another part of the story, but during that process, that when the axle was down, like we took the tire off and the axle was down, the wiring for the brakes was stretched tight. And I'm like, oh shit. And I lifted it up and we put a block underneath, kind of thing. So we got the spring on, got the tire back up, you know, the axle's back on, everything's tightened up, the wheels on. I said thank you to Daryl. Without his help, things would have been screwed. I don't know where he's from. He said he was a country boy. He deals with just this stuff all the time, which I'm thankful for, because I'm mechanically just a complete idiot. And so he helped me with that. I owe him a big shout out and a whole lot of gratitude. He even was late for an appointment that he had for his RV in Phoenix, because he had to make a phone call and tell him that, you know, he was going to be late. And I just kind of overheard that. I'm like, oh man, this guy's like helping me out and making himself late. So big shout out to Daryl, just for being, you know, awesome. So we got that put together. Now he left, he's on his way. I pull around to the water station, fill up the water, go back out to the exit of that LTVA over there. As I'm pulling up to the registration shack, there's speed bumps and stuff, so I'm slowing down, and it's kind of, you know, like I'm always kind of checking my mirrors. I'm like, what the hell is that? And in my mirror, I can see it's not dust, because things are all freshly paved over here now. Something's smoking. I'm like, what the hell now? So I pull off, I'm underneath. The brakes on that back wheel are hotter than hell, because when they pulled that wire tight, the one that there's 2 wires that come out of the axle, like there's a hole in the axle that come out of the axle and attached to the brake. Those wires, one of them got stripped. I think it was shorting on the axle and making the brakes go on. And just as I was doing that, some friends, like fairly new friends, Steve and Terry, came by, and they're like, are you okay? Like, is everything all right? And, you know, can we help? And this and that. And while they were there, another gentleman came by and asked if we needed anything. Actually, even when Daryl was helping me, there was like 2 guys, 3 guys came by, said, do you need any tools, anything like that? I'm just parked over there. I can go, you know, like this RV community, I'm going to go off on a bit of a rave, not a rant. This RV community that I'm a part of is incredible. Everybody that I've met, they're just awesome. Like I've never come across anybody who is like not willing to help, or not willing to see if they can help or offer or whatever. Like people, there's a genuine community here, and I don't want that to go unmentioned, because I'm really grateful for it. And just the fact that like Steve and Terry, like they stopped and made sure I was okay. And I'm like, yeah, I think I got to figure it out. The wire's stripped, it's shorting out. I'm going to like tape it up and make sure that it's off the metal and that kind of thing. And I got underneath there and did all that. And so they left. They were actually going to fill up their water. They had like a portable thing, so they're going to fill that up. I tape up the wires, good to go. And I'm just getting ready to kind of like pull myself out from underneath the trailer. And I'm like, what the hell is that now? And there's like a wire on the other axle, supposed to be attached to the other brakes, just dangling there. Like totally loose with a bare end. Like where the hell does that go? And like I said, I'm mechanically quite dumb. I admit it. I'm a tech nerd. mechanics and wiring and this shit. Just like, I'm not smart. Anyway, so I'm looking at this bare wire, and then I'm looking a little closer, and there's like a 3-prong kind of moret, right? Like a crimp thing. Well, the top part doesn't have a wire in it. I'm like, okay. I grabbed that loose wire and I, wound up the end and stuffed it back in there and got my pliers out and crimped it back down again. Pulled out, got to this entrance to where I'm camped, and that wheel's smoking like a son of a bitch. And I'm like, oh my God. So I got underneath and I didn't know what else to do other than to put it back so that it was just dangling, because I didn't know what I was doing wrong. It looked like it was supposed to go in there. I don't know if it is, but it was making the brake go on, so I pulled it out. Got into my campsite, trying to gather my thoughts and not explode. And Steve and Terry had gone, they'd gotten their water and they came back, and Terry's a sweetheart. She came by and she goes, you're having a bit of a rough day, so here. And she gave me a little bag of homemade cookies. And I'm like, oh, awesome. That's the kind of community this place is. So anyways, long story short, I talked to my buddy Ralph, and he's like, before you take it in somewhere to get those wires figured out, he goes, I would basically see if you can find another one of those 3-prong moret things. Maybe strip it down and put a new one in, and make sure that the connection is tight, and because if it was loose and it's coming in and out, it might be messing with the magnets, and that's why your brakes were on. I'm gonna try that, and if it looks like they're still on or whatever, I'll book an appointment somewhere and get them properly looked at. I'm not impressed with the guys in Montana now. I mean, they were a little, let's say there was a few things about them the first time that was a little unprofessional, telling me they were going to be out there one afternoon and then not being able to show up until the next morning, but then it would snow that night, and it was kind of a bit of a fiasco. But I let it slide because, they were out of town on the other side, and I understood it's winter weather and they're busy and this and that. But I mean, I could go off on a whole other rant with these guys, but I'm not going to. I'm going to try and be cool about it. But when the spring is basically exploding and coming apart, now I know I didn't buy the springs through them. The springs were bought online, and I'm going to look into that too. But still, I asked Daryl, I'm like, what would cause this pin to be, to come out and this and that? And he's like, well, the only thing would be is if it was a completely faulty pin, or the U-bolts and everything, that whole little section in the middle around the axle was not tight. So do I blame the spring or do I blame the installation? I don't know. The funny thing is the spring on the other side that I got done in Lake Havasu last year, they were mocking those guys because the bolts weren't tight. They weren't as tight as they should have been. So I don't know. Regardless, as much of an idiot as I am, I'm getting underneath there and I'm going to tighten all the bolts, check them all before I go anywhere, any sort of distance whatsoever. They're all going to be double, triple checked before I go. And then if I still haven't figured the brakes out, I'm going to basically take it in and get everything checked, because I'm not doing this every 4 months when I decide I'm going to move somewhere. It's just not cool. They say things, happen in threes. Well, I'm going to say, okay, the spring was 1, the brake dealies was 2, and number 3, I get back, fire up the generator. I'm all dirty from being under a trailer, so I'm going to have a shower. But batteries are a little low, fire up the generator. My Champion generator, fired it up, go in for a shower, runs out of gas. Okay, I go back out, put gas in it, doesn't want to start again. So I pull a little harder, kind of multiple times, and it starts up. I'm like, okay, fine, seems good. Runs for about 2 minutes, dies. Will not start again. I have blisters on my hands from trying to start that damn thing. Generator, dead. I took it into a guy in Surprise, just outside of Phoenix, and I mean, I totally trust him. He's been working on this stuff since he was 12 years old. His reviews on Google are 5 stars across the board. But everybody that's taken their machines in there loves them. I trusted him, and he basically said, yeah, it's shot. Now, if you want to know more about that fiasco and why I will never spend another dollar on a Champion product again, next video. I'm going to try not to get too heated about it, but it might become a little ranty because I'm kind of pissed off. But aside from that, I'm back. My trailer is okay, it's cozy. I'm slowly working on some other things, like I said, fixing things up. Basically, because I have a little bit of time, work's been slow. I talked to my boss, I have nothing to worry about. It's gonna pick up again. Their corporate people decided, I think they might be dialing back or pulling back on how much of like offshore, overseas development they're using. This is just a guess, because I know that they were doing some stuff with like developers and trying to keep costs down or whatever in other countries via like Fiverr and Upwork and these kinds of sites where they can find cheaper labor. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know, but they're kind of doing a bit of a developer shuffle. And while they get everybody else kind of on board and caught up to speed and that kind of thing, they're not really onboarding any more new stuff until they got that figured out. And then once they kind of, get caught up, then they'll release some of the newer projects to me. He said December might be a little quiet. There's 1 or 2 coming in. But then January, he goes, we're going to be full on again. So I'm just taking the time to work on my tan and get a few things done and that kind of thing, and just hang out with my dog and my friends. And yeah, we're going to probably go explore again one day soon here. Not sure where yet, but yeah, it might even be just, go up to Seligman and take some pictures of the old Route 66 stuff or something like that. I don't know yet. But I have been taking a few pictures here and there, just trying to kind of get my groove back. And other than that, life is good. I have no complaints. Aside from the things that are going wrong, that's just part of any lifestyle. You have a house and 2 cars, things go wrong. If you're in an RV, things go wrong. There is a joke. I'll tell you a little joke. And it was actually a meme, but it was kind of like, if John makes $2,000 a month, but at the end of the month, he's $800 in the hole, what does John have? John has an RV. So there's one for you. Anyway, that's enough of me babbling. I'll leave you all now. I'll say thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping up, and I'll talk to you all soon. So yeah, stay safe. Have a good December, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye. Hey monkey, you okay? Did you get a thorn? I didn't see a thorn, but his paw was wet, so he might have got it out. Okay, come on up. Let's go home.
Thank you.